All right, on the bench today, out of a 2011 Ford F-150 with a 5.0, we have the 6R80 four-wheel drive transmission. On this one, 6-speed auto, 212,000 miles on the clock. No codes present. But the complaint with this is a 2-3 flare and a delay in reverse. Now, the common denominator here is the B clutch. Okay, the B clutch is on in third, fifth, and reverse. I don't really recall having a problem in fifth, but those other two, you know, it's a common denominator. We'll see what we find. We got 212,000 miles on this thing. We actually maybe could even have an issue in the valve body. Who knows? But I did, before we pulled this transmission out as a test, I actually reset the shift adapts to see what would happen. And it now, after I reset the adapts, it had a very firm 1-2 shift. The 2-3 kind of like it almost had like a bind up and then let go. And also some bangs on the downshift. I totally screwed this thing up. It was working better before I reset the adapters, but we didn't do an overhaul. So once I do the overhaul, I'm going to reset it again. So that's the complaints. So on this, I have my banner kit, I have my bushing kit, which I'll show you. I have my Transgo shift kit, and I have my lead frame. Now, the lead frames are a huge problem with these 6R80s. You know, they go bad all the time. I think Ford actually had a recall on them because they were coming up with an input or an output speed sensor code. All right, I used to be able to get them. I cannot get them anymore. Ford does not sell them anymore to us. As a matter of fact, I had a guy that came here. I could only get dormant, and even that's being hard to get. Okay, my supplier, who was Transtar, had some, like 4 of them in Cleveland, so I bought them all. And I got this one, and I got another one coming in. So they're basically all sold already. And I called them back. He is out, completely out. I called the parts, there's a big parts, transmission parts supplier in the south called WIT, whatever it takes. I don't think they have any, but I may have to research this online, go to the Dorman website and, you know, see if I can find them. But I had a guy come to me with a problem with his 6R80, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna have to use Dorman. You know, some people like it, some people don't. I think I believe if they would sell you a valve body, it would come with the lead frame, if they would do that, but I know they will not sell you the lead frame. This guy even went to a Ford dealer to see if he can get it done there, and they told him, well, you didn't buy the car from us, so we're not going to fix it. You have to go back to, I guess because they're so limited that you had to buy the car from them in order for them to fix it if there was a problem. But, you know, these things are becoming a huge problem. Even the Dorman ones are drying up. So here is the one I got from Transtar, and the Dorman number, just to let you know, is 926-149. All right, that is the Dorman part number. I've used probably 8 or 9 of these. I had a problem with one, and the rest were okay. So it comes, you know, like this, and you know, with the lead frame. So with 212,000 miles, you know, I don't really want to use this over again. I don't really want to have any issues, so I'm gonna be going with this one. You know, I just did another truck with a Prindle. You know, that never worked on. It was an OE1, and the Prindle was no good. You know, you put in park, it would read reverse, it wouldn't start, had to cool down, then it read park. You put in drive, it read reverse. So we fixed that with a Dorman plate, but stuff is getting harder and harder to get. Even the late model 6R80s, the A and the D clutch, which is the same, very tough to get. I just did a ZF6HP28 Generation 2 So I got the ZF kit, I got the E clutches, the B and the C. Okay, the A and the D, my supplier was totally out of them, so I got 10 of them from Ericsson's. But stuff's getting, you know, harder and harder to get. So again, it's written down here, 2-3 flared, delay reverse. Common denominator of this is the B clutch. May or may not find something physically with the B clutch, but we're gonna do this whole overhaul with a shift kit. You can definitely do bushings and everything, a lot of miles on this thing. So I'm gonna get a little closer and we're gonna tear this thing down. You know, these go quick. We'll take the bolts out of here. These pumps sometimes don't come out so easy like the 6 HP 26s, but we're gonna see if we can just get this thing apart, take the pan down, the filter, get the valve body out. I'm gonna have the bolts out of here ready, try to pry at the front and scoop it out. And this has the low diode. Might have to buy a spring in it, you know, a little, which was added. So let me get a little closer and we'll start tearing this down. Okay. Super busy here. I'll be here all weekend, as I normally am, but not the weekend yet. But I'm already getting calls. Okay, bolts are out. All right, also I drained this thing. I pretty much just took the, you know, I had this thing turned over, but I guess it all drained down. Here is the dipstick, which goes in here like this. And then this little, I call it like a little lug nut, goes on there. So of course you check this with the engine running. Okay, so that's that. Now let's turn this over, but there's still probably a lot of oil in here. All right, we're going to 8mm pan bolts. Okay, back over here, so we'll end up right in the middle. Just trying to stay out of the way so everybody can see. A little rust on these here. Okay, last one. Just get rid of some of this oil here. The thing is pretty full. I don't believe anybody tried to service this. Pan's real clean. swap my buckets, it's getting full. Okay. All right, so, gasket. Pick this button up. I'm hoping this will come out fairly easy. Let's see. Nice. On these F-150s, you know, if you get codes like for temperature sensor or, you know, input speed sensors or something. I've had one where I had codes for temperature sensor, very hard engagements, and the problem actually wasn't the lead frame. The problem was the wiring harness that plugs in to the lead frame, and it was very hard and brittle, and they actually make a repair harness for it. I think maybe Rostra or one of those aftermarket companies make a repair harness. Put that in and work real nice. Okay, so we got a T30. Get the bolts out. All right, so the bolts that hold the valve body to the case are T30. The bolts that hold the valve body together are T27. Okay, that might be it. Yes. Okay. All right, so here's the valve body. All right, we'll put this aside. That's definitely going to get a shift kit with all that mileage on it. I emptied that bucket this morning, it's full again. Okay. All right, so here is the thermal element, and the spring goes down first. When you put that in, here is the bridge seal. Okay, you know, these break, you lose a lot of pressure. All right, now let's get the sealing sleeves out. I'll tell you, for 200,000 miles, the stuff's coming out like transmission, no problem. I mean, normally this stuff would be flat, but it's not the case. All right, let's see if we can get this pump out. We're moving. So again, the 6R80s don't come out as easy as the ZF6 HP26s do, but here's the case, here's the A drum. So I just kind of give it a pry here and see if we can get the pump moving. But they don't come out as easy. Let me see if I can just do it equal on each side and get this thing moving. All right, it is moving. I can see a little space in between the pump and the case, but you know, that's a machine surface, so I'm certainly not going there. Just got to get it past the O-ring. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so also one thing I wanted to do, this bushing, you know, with these big engines, this bushing is a little worn out. So this bushing, and I don't know if I mentioned this before on the 6R80s. All right, so I get the same bushing kit that I use for the 6HP26s. All right, let me just see if I can find this just to show you. All right, so, all right, this is the bushing for the stator here. Now, you can't knock this all the way in because this bushing is a little shorter, and you really got to look at this. All right, so maybe you can knock it in until about this much, is sticking out. And then you just got to kind of file it down, or if you have a green cookie or something, file it off. Because the journal in here starts, and then not too much longer, it kind of goes like that. So if you knock this bushing or press it all the way in, it'll go all the way in, but you're never going to get the E drum on, or the overdrive drum as Ford would call it. So I try to knock this out, and, I try to knock this out and keep it as in good shape as I can, or I just knock the bushing out and I press this down and just put it down and just keep watching it, and then I just stop, and then again I have my, you know, like my angle die grinder, and this is very coarse, and I'll just shave the rest off and seat the E drum, and it'll be fine. So you got to be very careful when you use these bushing kits about this, because again, you're knocking it all the way, that E drum is not going to go in. Very important. All right, we're going to pull this whole thing out. All right, you know what it looks like. We got a toasted B clutch, which again is the common denominator here. I'm going to pull this out now, and it looks like it is bad. Well, we confirmed our problem. Let me just face the camera down, and I'll put it back up just so you can see. Okay, you can see this is all burnt here. All right, let's just get in a little closer. So again, a 2-3 flare delay reverse. The B clutch street is on 3rd, 5th, and reverse, so this clutch is smoked. All right, I'm gonna get steels too. Steels, you know, these looks like they're very hot. The steels are black. So, all right, there's our problem, 100%. Not sure why that happened. You know, it could be because it was losing pressure, the pressure regulator valve, or the balance. Could be, the cap could be worn out, but at least we found that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just switch angles to get on top of this transmission to show you this bias spring here on this mechanical diode, and then we can continue with the teardown. So give me 1 second. All right, so here's the bias spring, they call it, for the mechanical diode. And let me see if I can get it out from this way. Hopefully it won't go flying. So I'm gonna kind of pry this thing up. Okay. And that's what it looks like. All right. Whoop, I dropped it. So that's what it looks like. Okay, let me switch angles again, and we'll continue. We'll get the rest of the stuff out. Okay, so we got the snap ring. We got to get out in order to get the center support out. So they have a piece you can get a snap ring in here, like a pry bar, to get the snap, but the snap ring is not there. So what I do is I take my screwdriver and stick it down into the groove of the snap ring. Like you can grab it like with an eyelet plier or something, and I'm just going to push it down. till it gets to that spot, like that. Okay. Now, we can get behind it and pry it out. So let me come on this side. Okay. Let me use my other one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get behind the snap ring. Comes the big snap ring. Hold it out. Get this screwdriver behind it. Got it out. Now let's get another one behind it. All right. Okay. Pretty thick snap ring. On this side, okay, there is the snap ring. All right. Now let's see. Get the center support out. Okay. There we go. There's the C clutch. Now we have the diode. All right, so first we got a bearing. All right, that'll go here. That will go actually here. Well, yeah, the bearing's going to sit like this, but the lip here is going to go onto the sun gear. I'll show you when we get the sun gear out. And there's a bearing here. This bearing will go here, and you have these two tabs here to keep the center support from spinning. There's one on each side. One here. Sometimes they come out easy, sometimes they come out hard, just don't lose them. Okay, there is also a shim here. So, all right, let's get the mechanical diode out. We took the bias spring out. Okay. Oh, here's that, that looks good. All right, now we got the D clutch, or the low reverse. All right, let's see if we can get anything out. Okay. All right, so these are not bad. Let me just face this a little more down. Back out. Okay. All right, so when you're putting this back together, the pressure plate would go in first, and the wave steel would go in last because this is your piston here. Okay. All right, so here is the planet. Be careful, these gears do come out fairly easy. All right, now we're going to take this out. All right, so this gear is flat, and it's got like a bevel here, so this bevel will face up on the one all the way on the bottom here. So we'll put this back in. You know, you take these things out, you turn them over, it falls out. Oh, which way did it go? Okay, this will go in, and then the lip will face down onto the planet like that. All right, check your planets on these 6R80s. These splines like to strip out on these 6R80s. This one is good, with 212,000 miles on it, but I've seen it. The planets like to strip out. bearing here. All right, so case is stripped. Okay, this bearing here pretty much just stays on there, don't have to worry about that. All right, now, let me get rid of some of this oil. And we'll take a look at the clutches, open up the pump. That's it, call it a day. All right, so I will be back shortly. Let's get this drain for a few. I'll get rid of this case. Put it on the next bench. All right. All right, I'll be back in a few. All right, so we'll open up the front section. Here's the bearing. And remember, when you change the bushings, you got to knock it down far enough for this lip so it doesn't hit the bushing, so it sits flat. Okay. We got a couple of locks here, but we're going to get behind it, give it a tap. Right here, it actually is the hub for the B clutch. Here is the hub for the A clutch. All right, we have a bearing in here. Bushing here is going to be changed. Bushing here is going to be changed. Overdrive or E clutch hub. You know, I did one of these F-150s and the guy snapped it right here. I did a video on that, and I think it came back not too much after that with the when the drum was cracked. Okay, bearing here. All right, so let's take a look at the E or the overdrive clutch. All right, not bad. But this is definitely getting a bannikin, so this will lift right off. Okay, and we have a bearing here, which would fit on here because the lip faces down. For now, I'll just put it here. I'm going to double check this drum, make sure there's no cracks. All right, here's the A clutch, or they may call the forward clutch. Okay, not bad. All right. Now, I'd like to see, maybe we can remove this planet. Let's see how easy we can do that. Gotta look for the snap ring. Somebody's doing landscaping. All right. Here is the planet. And remember, just like the 6HP26, when you take this out, I use a little Dremel. I make a mark on the drum and make a mark on the balance piston to put it exactly back the same way so the planet could just snap right in. Let's take a look at the pump. All right, we got a shim here. Okay. I'm hoping I can just zip these things off without too much of a problem. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I'll try slow. Okay. I'm giving it some pressure, pushing it down to try to keep this from slipping. Yeah, I normally don't do this, honestly, but I'm running a little short on time and it's working out. Okay, we got them. All right, so I'm going to leave 2 in there. Okay. Out. That out. Here is your pump O-ring. Here's the pump body. Not really liking this. This is gonna have to be changed. This right here is no good. Do not like this at all. Very bad. Do I have any 6R80s here? I might. I'm gonna find out what the difference. You know, this is an early one. I gotta see if they're all the same or if there's early and late. But this is no good. Got a big gouge right here. So this is getting changed. I don't like these pump gears where they ride on that. All right, so this pump is no good. This is okay, but this is not. So I'm gonna get another pump for this. Could have been losing pressure there. Could have burned out the B clutch. But there's no way that pump's getting used over again. Okay, on the valve body, we'll be changing the lead frame. Your speed sensors here and here. Input, output. Your range switch is here for the manual valve. Temperature sensor. You know, those 4 items. No computer on this. So, and this is also a Gen 1. Considered early 2011. So that's it for the teardown, and I just got to find out about a pump. Find out. I know I have somebody had brought me a transmission to use, you know, to give me. So I'm going to find out what the difference is. I think it's a bit of a later unit out of. Oh, I forget what these things are out of. But I know it's a later unit. I don't know what these, I'm just going to find out what years it would work. You know, could be one fits all, or one for all 6R80s. I'm not 100% sure. So that's what I got to find out. All right, so I just want to kind of show you what I have so far. As far as parts, I'm going to get rid of this oil. And I'll show you what I got for parts, and then we can finish up the video. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here is my battery kit with my Trans Tech overhaul kit, friction module, okay, Transgo shift kit, and my Durabond bushing kit, which you saw. And then one thing I like about this, because each of these bushings, you can't get them separately, but each of them has its own part number. And then you can look up the part number on this list and see, you know, what it's for and where it goes. So that's pretty cool. So maybe I will, maybe I could do a 6R80 bushing kit install one of these days. But I don't know if I could do it now. It's just, I'm so far behind. Okay, and again, my Dorman lead frame, because that's all we can get. All right, so 2011 Ford F-150 5.0 6R80, and the complaint was a 2.3 flare, delay reverse, and again the B clutch is the common denominator, which I had said we may find a bad before we open the unit, and sure enough, the clutch is smoked. Okay, here is the outside of the drum. I'm going to clean all that up with a wire wheel. That bothers me. I don't like that. Got to get a pump. All right, I'm sure there's a casting number. Got to go by a casting number here, but I'm going to find out from my supplier the break-off year. You know, like it could be from whenever these came out, maybe, you know, 2008 up to 12, and then 12 and up. I'm not sure, but pumps could say 2008 all the way and up. I'm gonna actually find out from my supplier. You know, they do have the online ordering system Transcend, but I don't trust that. So I'd rather hear it from him, and I'll see if he has one. All right, guys, that is it for this teardown. I thank you for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next one.